Hey, everybody. I just want to say that it is great being here today. I am GW, and I am doing my best to keep everybody informed of what my thoughts are. Who cares? Who cares? I guess I do. So, anyway, today is the 84th day of the Trump administration. And there's lots of things that I could talk about, things that have gone on, and everything else. But what I'm going to talk about today is a little different. I think that, first off, I'm going to just declare that there has been damage done to the country. And by having the administration have all of its actions in the way that they are, it is just unrealistic for us to be able to just continue at this rate forever. So the question is how do you react? I mean, we have now got a mess. Now, I remember I had a boss one time that I went in and I told him a bunch of bad news. And he looked at me straight in the eye and he used a term that I'm not going to use on this particular podcast. Lots of people do, but I'm not going to. And he said, "You effed it up." He says, "Can you go in there and un-eff it?" And the answer to that is yes. You can. And you can go in there and you can work with it, but it's going to take time and it's going to take expectations of what is the reality that we expect to get back to. And that's the thing that is just really, really scary when you look around the country right now. The damage to the country, well underway. And when I say damage, I mean damage in a lot of different areas. Social Security, tariffs, Department of Defense, you name it, Department of Education, if it even exists today. And just continue on. Department of Justice. Oh my gosh. Our Attorney General is just, doing wonderful things out there. Damage to the country is well underway. So realistically, when you look at the election cycles, we're about 21 months away from anything meaningful going on. So 21 months is a long time. It's a long time when you look at the way the world is acting and what's going on and what's not going on. So we can't really expect to have any significant legislative changes before that time. And then you're going to have a kind of an upheaval in the election cycle, and the Democrats are going to have to win a lot of current seats that are held by the Republicans, or the Republicans are going to have a come to Jesus meeting with themselves, and they're going to have to decide, all right, enough's enough. Let me have a little backbone here and take a position that I know that my constituents want me to take, the majority of the constituents. And when you take a look at the town halls that have been going on, it's pretty clear that that's it. So it's easy to say. It's easy to say. No one signed up for disappearing people without due process. No one signed up for that. I mean, that's what the Nazis do. It's not what we do. No one signed up for gutting Social Security and putting the elderly in a financial jeopardy, which is what they have done already. And if you're just turning 65, do you have any reasonable expectation that you're going to be able to just go in and sign up and it's going to work? When I turned 65, that's exactly what my expectation was. Okay, it would be a little bit of a hassle, but once I got everything signed and everything was good, it would go through, and it went through very smoothly. Not sure that's the case today. So what about getting the VA and putting veterans at risk and getting their fiscal and their medical risk? That is a significant factor. And then you have opening up trading wars. And I tell you, I did an interesting thing. I went to a chat GPT and I asked it the question of what are the odds that Trump's tariff actions are actually going to work? And they spit me out a long pretty intelligent actually, reaction to that. Said it was a little odd to, what do I mean by work and all this good stuff. But bottom line is that, you know, there have been in the last 100 years 3 instances where tariffs were brought into play. It was at the Great Depression, you had Reagan, and you had Trump in his first term. It didn't work out well anytime before. No reason to have an expectation that that's going to work out well today. So, what's next? I mean, that's what we as a country have to decide. I mean, what's next? And we have to come up with a plan of how we're going to get there. Now, Plan 2025 is being implemented right now. And if you read it, and even if you just read the highlights of it, that's what you're in favor for, well, good on you. Maybe that's what we'll end up with. Who knows? But I do know one thing. In my mind, and I think in the mind of the great majority of people here in America, having a dictator / king / oligarch is not acceptable. It's just not the way we want to go. So how do we get our systems back to where they were 3 or 4 months ago, 5 months ago? I don't think that's possible either. I think that's one of those things. The genie is out of the bottle, so you can't put the genie back in, or the toothpaste is out of the tube, and you can't. It's really hard to put that toothpaste back in the tube once it's escaped. So what does that mean? It means we need a plan. I mean, what will this country look like in 2040, in 2050? I mean, what do we want it to look like? I think that wanting it to look like it did 30 years ago is a pipe dream. So what is the reality? I mean, first of all, let's admit that we want to keep a democracy. Let's admit that. Okay, but what does that democracy look like? And what are the changes that we're going to have to make and accept in order to have a viable, stable country in 2040, 2050? Because we're now sitting here in 2025, and we are about as unstable as we have been in a long time. But any future candidate is going to have to be able to articulate clearly their vision for what's going to happen. And if they can't articulate that over and over and over again and be able to defend it, then that candidate is not going to be successful. I don't care what party you're on. The only thing that I know now is Trump with his Plan 2025. That's his plan. That's what he thinks he wants to do. So if somebody comes in right behind him, say, perhaps pick your candidate, maybe J.D. Vance, I doubt it, but maybe, and he comes in, he says, that's what we want. Well, that's a tough decision. That's a real tough decision, because that's not a democracy is the way I look at it. So even though this extreme chaos that we're living in right now has only taken 84 days to become the new Trump normal, it's going to take decades to solidify into a new governing system that is going to work and to be able to show its lineage back to what the founding fathers started. And how you get that plan and how you get that vision, that's what's important. We've been forced into an isolationist role in this world. We have been a global leader for the last 80 years, since World War II, maybe even since World War I. A global leader, undisputed leader of the free world. No longer the case. I can't even pretend that we are. I mean, we can't even convince El Salvador to give up one of its prisoners that we gave. So how are we able to think that we're a world leader? So we have been forced into this isolationist position. Well, yeah, the federal government is, well, it won't be trusted by our allies. We won't be trusted as a defense partner. We won't be trusted as a trade partner. And we as individuals, I mean, we the people, we can't trust the government to protect our interests. Can't do it. Not today. It's just not on the books today. So both parties, and perhaps the independent, they need to find a person of vision, a vision not about making a profit, not about, but a vision that is about being transformative for the American people. A vision that provides a unique opportunity to reinvest in this great country and to make that country into something better than it's ever been, certainly better than it is right now. Something that perhaps we can even think might last another 250 years. How great would that be if we could have a 500-year anniversary for the democracy and go back to 1776 and go 500 years out and say, there's our lineage. There's where we started. Here's where we are now. And we are better. Our people are better. Our country is better. And we collectively make the world better. How great would that be? So that's all I got today. I hope you all enjoy this. 84 days into the Trump regime. So you all take care. And I will come back on another time or two probably, but not going to do this forever. This is one of those things that I think has a shelf life. So anyway, I'm GW. Hope you enjoyed it. Please listen. Please subscribe. Please follow. Please do whatever you got to do. Thanks a lot.